Hello, Jimjamatic here. Welcome to the new episode of Robot Wars episode reviewed. It is Series 2, Heat D this time, and I'm joined by one of my recurring guests.
Hello, it's Anderson 9132 here. I'm very happy to be in this episode.
It's not a bad
Well,
it's not a bad one.
no, it's not. It's definitely not as bad as the last one I was in.
Well, I
Um,
think in fairness, the first and the last heats of this series are the worst ones. So you're in both of those. So
oh yeah, I'm loving life this
yeah,
series.
there's a few robots in this heat that actually do make quite a lot more appearances. Three to be exact. Three of the robots make a lot better appearances, for better or worse, in future heats. Actually, one of them actually doesn't get as far, but at least three very memorable robots in this heat, and then three kind of okay robots. Not the
Yes,
worst. The no pièce resistance or napalm, they actually work.
yes,
So
they do. It's quite good.
that's a start, and we'll start traditionally with the Heat winner, and it's a name you'll definitely know especially if you followed Robot Wars or just watched the 2016 series, Behemoth or
Yes.
Behemoth, depends how you want to say it.
Well, we're British, so we say it properly, bear in mind.
Well, yeah, well
Uh,
we say it the right way.
yeah. Um, Very interesting to see just how far Bearmoth's come.
Especially when you see this
When you
first one.
Yeah, this first one exactly. The fact that they've been going since this time. I mean, they are the longest running team. You know.
Maybe Pussycat because obviously Body Hammer in series one,
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
technically, and technically they did technically come back with Killy Cranky, so yeah.
Yeah, but they had like millions of years off between them. I mean, literally consecutive years.
Oh, actually, that's true. Actually, also,
Yeah.
we were discussing it with Sam last time. The Oblivion team also,
Yes.
who actually
Yes.
have
Yes.
been in every series. Razor haven't, 'cause they didn't appear in series seven.
No.
They're one of those few teams that have, and it's like it's nice to see them back every year. And the cool thing
Yeah.
about Behemoth is once they changed from series two to series three, they didn't really change that much design wise. It got
No.
better. I mean, obviously they improved it internally and obviously gave it a few little extra details, and they were improving it, but the core design never, like Razor and Hypnodisc and Chaos Two, never really changed
Yes. This is
because
also a bit of an interesting fact for you. This is the Scottish YouTuber Roscoe Whitey.
hmm
This is his favourite robot. So there you go.
I
There
can
you
under
go.
I'm a big fan of Behemoth. To be honest, I've always just been it's got very unlucky. Um,
It is an interesting robot, and again, very unlucky. I think
I mean, in the earlier
personally,
yeah,
it is definitely worthy. They deserve to win something. Come on, they really
they
do.
really and they still haven't yet, which is kind of sad because
Unless you count the Antweight Championship back in Extreme 2, which I
I
don't.
don't. That's more of a side event, really. I mean, like a proper main
Yes.
event, like even like a World Championship that came second in Series Three's World Championship.
Heck, an Annihilator would be cool.
Annihilator, that'd
Something
be
like
quite
that.
cool. I mean, they actually no, they had their chance to be an Annihilator and got flipped out by Thermidor too. So
Yay!
that was actually hands down one of the best, best flip out of the arenas ever because Behemoth went, arse over tit.
Yeah, he literally did like a front flip out the arena.
If you're gonna get flipped out of the arena, that's the way to go.
Yes,
But
but
yeah, back to Series Two Behemoth because it's the most impressive one, clearly. Um, it's two major problems that suffered from actually all the earlier Behemoths till around Series Six suffered. It was that it's slow.
way
5 mile an
slow.
hour top speed does Behemoth get to, and it doesn't get that much faster until Series Six, where
Yeah,
it finally
Series
gets fast.
Six. They got it above 10 miles an hour finally.
What an achievement!
Um,
But
yeah,
Behemoth Series Two, like the lifter is that's all it is. It's a lifter. It's not a flipper. It's a lifter because it never flipped anything over in this entire series. You know,
yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, it did. Yeah, it just lifted, it plodded them off the ground. It barely lifted half the foot off the floor. In all honesty, for a first attempt, it's still pretty impressive,
oh,
especially
it's a
for
good, it's a bad, not a bad first attempt. But then you look at Series Three, and it flips Shark Attack and General Carnage over in one go, and it's like, oh,
and Pitbull.
I want Pitbull. Oh yeah, until we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get.
Well, I won't, but yeah, you will.
Oh yeah, Sam's in that one. He got beat you to it.
Yes.
But there's not
But
much
in
to
all
say
honesty,
about Behemoth itself. It's just sort of a lifter. Uh,
it's a very good robot by Series 2 standards,
it's
and very
actually
good for a first attempt. But
the,
it's definitely got its better days ahead of it.
the funny thing about Behemoth in this series is it is like a parallel to GBH later on. Because it's the same kind
Yes.
of thing. It's the same shape. It's got the same kind of very low lifter that doesn't lift that high, but actually is not. Although, to GBH's credit, it actually flipped a robot over. Well,
Flipped
two
a
actually.
couple, didn't he? Yeah, flipped two robots over. Yeah.
Well, Behemoth couldn't just quite. I think there was lack of power in Behemoth's lift. It just managed to lift things and push them into the house robots, which is a still a viable strategy at this particular stage of the series.
Yes, definitely.
But
But all in all, it was a good machine in my opinion.
wasn't a bad robot, but you can tell it's the first attempt. A bit like Oblivion, a bit like Chaos and all that. You can tell it's their first try at well, not Chaos's case, but like does the actual type of machine. It's a first attempt, but not a bad first attempt. 'Cause it actually made a semi-final like every other Bayol that's ever existed.
Yeah.
But I mean, they almost made it in 26 series, 2016, but unfortunately Thor was better.
Yes.
So yeah, so we'll move on then. We'll go to the surprise, quite I would say lucky in some way, considering the opponent fucking up quite badly. Inquisitor, the red dwarf robot with a chainsaw that did nothing and a flail that they admitted was absolute pants.
Yes.
Made it to the heat final, which to its credit, it's actually well driven. This robot.
Yeah, very well driven robot, but and that proves that driving is more important than anything else on a robot, really, apart
Yeah.
from reliability, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I mean,
but
Inquisitor. The biggest problem I have with Inquisitor is it's a wedge-shaped robot, but it has so much stuff on it that stops it from being a wedge. It's kind of pointless. Like it has the
yeah,
saw, it has the little, I don't know, like a few air duct things on the front of it, and then it has spikes at the front, and you're like everything it possibly wants to become a wedge, it fails at doing.
yeah,
But
definitely.
and the flail is deadly. Take that, mace.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those robots where it's literally just it's the best way to describe it. It's just a Series 2 robot. No one knew what they were doing,
Hmm.
so they just took some random weapons, bolted it onto some metal, and said, "There you go. Does it move back, forwards, and backwards? Yes, then it's a robot." I
These
mean, a bit
sort of
like practically every single robot in Series 2, apart from the main ones.
all the ones that actually worked really well.
Yes.
And
So, no offense to the Inquisitor boys. Their
I know,
second machine was much better though.
and it didn't make it into the series, of course.
And to make it into the series, of course, because why would it?
Yeah, because it was probably bad at the gauntlet. That's probably why.
Yes. Even though it didn't even matter, but still, we'll get to that. We'll get
Oh
to
yeah, that's the series 3 thing. But
Yes.
actually, the one thing I do like about the Quizzington team, to their credit, I do like the team itself. They are quite. They seem to have quite a good laugh at the time. They weren't going out their robots gonna make you do alright. They were fully aware to admit that robots pretty crap,
Yeah.
which is very rare for series 2 because someone's like, no, we might do alright. I don't know, and these guys are like, no, no, we're just gonna
Yeah.
run away. That was their tactic, run away. I love that. I do actually like the team to their credit, but
Yeah. I'm happy that they. I like them. They were a good team. I'm happy that they were willing to admit that the robot was pants, but entered anyway just for the fun of it.
yeah. Well, speaking of pants,
Oh,
uh, Elvis. Because
yeah.
who doesn't love Oh, okay, okay. I will admit, Series One Elvis is shit. There's no denying it. The second Elvis, it's not a good robot, but at least it looked like a robot that was actually supposed to fight.
Yes, it's a vast improvement. It's actually got weaponry on it.
Plus the
It
head,
doesn't.
the head is a lot better. It actually looks like
Yes.
El. It actually, it's a lot more well defined. He's not in a stupid um, flying saucer anymore. He's just Elvis, like in a life support,
Yes.
which I like.
It
It's a
does.
little bit better. And the saw actually looked okay. The flipper wasn't that useful, but at least at least at least there's an effort to make a weapon this time.
Exactly, and again, it actually looked like Elvis. I like the white suit. I like the
I love the
twister.
design to this robot.
It looked really good, but as we all know,
It's Elvis,
looks
so
aren't everything. And yes, it's Elvis.
actually you can tell actually because the guy who made this was a special effects artist. You can tell
Yes, you
because he
can.
actually made a robot that actually looks good.
Yeah, I mean, again, when it comes to looking beautiful, yeah, Elvis deserves an A plus, but unfortunately, when it comes to battle competence, it deserves an F minus.
That's
Um,
true. Also, it was
it,
nice to see that it lift up and not expose all of its internal organs, which is nice to see.
yeah, that was nice. It's
And
very
I know
rare.
that was the main reason I hated the original. If it didn't do that, if it was like Elvis 2, it lifted up a tiny bit, it wouldn't have bothered me. But it's the fact it went so high up was the big problem. But here, it's so much. It's just so much more of a robot, really. But it's still not a great robot. So let's face it.
Yeah.
But I at least kind of like it in this series a little bit, even if it's not very good.
Yeah, it's not the best, is it? But
No, it couldn't even.
it still it looked good. It was pretty entertaining, so it deserves some credit.
Some credit. So I think not much to say about Elvis because we've already talked about Elvis before, I guess. But the next robot. Many a fanboy was created with this
Yes,
particular robot, and many of them are the loudest of the fanboys. out there.
The most butthurt of the fanboys.
Oh, that is true. That is true as well.
It's like
Razor.
it's like the PewDiePie of Robot Wars. You know what I
Oh
mean?
man,
Like,
yeah, Razor is infamous. Um, Now, to its credit, for this series, Razor probably could have won the heat and done quite well in the series if it hadn't been as unreliable as it normally is.
oh yeah, I think we can safely say. In all fairness, all right, because I mean, I know I'm not a massive fan of Razor. I'm probably the biggest Razor disliker on the internet. But when it comes down to it, I'm always willing to say I respect it.
Hmm.
Always willing to turn around and say I think it did. You know, it was a brilliant idea. It it worked when it actually did work. It was very effective. I think, to be honest, if it was reliable for series 2, 3, and 4, it would have won them as much as it won, you know, the later series and all that stuff.
Hmm.
Um, the only and again, like I don't like, you know, it deserves the praise it gets because obviously, you know, I can see why some people find it entertaining, and also it did win practically everything thrown at it. The only reason I don't like it is just simply because I found it boring.
It does have a
And
very same style of attack. It just grabs a robot, lifts it up, pits it, puts on a flamethrower, just puts a few holes in it.
yeah, that's literally
It's
it.
after a while that gets very boring.
Well, it just slows the match down as well. I mean, like, you know me, I'm a big fan of back and forth, close battles, which are fast paced. You know, robots driving all around the arena, slamming into each other. You know, each
Hmm.
getting good attacks on another, lots of damage and all that good stuff. Razor would poke two holes in the robot very slowly, and then just leave it and wait for the judge's decision. What do you do?
Yeah, it's
It
not
won. It
entertaining.
won. I don't think it won all. You know, half of its fights. But it won nearly half of its fights by
It's not.
judge's decision alone.
Wow, it's not really. It's not
Uh,
not most impressive in the world.
no.
I mean, compare it to something like Hypnodisc, Chaos 2, or Tornado, who actually win a lot of knockouts on in their history. But
Yeah.
it deserves some praise because to its credit, it won both World Championships, won Series 5, and came second in Series 6. But
Yes.
in Series 2 to 4, in the main competition, this thing is unreliable as hell. It get a little bit further every time, like one battle forwards, and it would constantly something would go wrong. It would break down, it'd pin itself to the floor, or get stuck in forward motion. You
Yeah.
know, the things that happen to every robot that's supposed to be really great. Like it happens to Chaos 2 all the time. You know,
Yes.
it's why it's so reliable.
Yeah.
But at least from Series 5 onwards, they got their shit together. At least I'll give them credit. Series 5 and 6 Razor is actually a very good robot because it actually works all the time.
Yes.
But it makes you wonder why it didn't work in Series 3 as much, considering they managed to win a world championship. But, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, that's Razor. Everyone knows Razor. Even if you don't know Robot Wars, it's one of those, like, three robots like Hypnodisc and Chaos 2 that everyone just knows
Yes.
by sight alone, even if they don't know the name of it. So, yeah, I think we covered Razor pretty decently for now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, and now for playing one of the most original robots in this series, design-wise anyway. It's Millie Anbug.
Hmm.
This thing is odd, to say the least.
Yeah.
It's a very unique robot, but again, odd because it's one of the few. Actually, I think it's probably one of the only robots that has two segments to its body that isn't a cluster bot.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's the only one.
Yeah, yeah, and it's to its credit, they drove it way better than I thought they could for a robot that's driven independently on two parts.
Yes, I definitely agree with that
And the
one.
series, it got better in Series 3, but then it fucked it up quite badly in Series 3. And then
Yeah.
met Razor in Series 4 and got fucked up even more. Possibly one of the few times that Razor definitely managed to completely KO a robot indefinitely. To its
Yes,
credit,
I think
to its credit, that was one of Razor's best kills. Because it was
definitely.
against Millie Ambug. But it deserves to win most original entry in Series 2. Because this thing is very, very, very odd. Very odd indeed. I mean, I don't know what you think of Millie Ambug, but
It's an odd. I mean, it's hard to really say. Really, I like it for an ingenuity side and for originality and for looks and for silliness. And in all fairness, yeah, it was pretty effective. But again, it's one of those robots again where you just look at it and think, yeah, that ain't gonna work. That's
hmm.
not gonna do well. And unfortunately, it never did.
Yeah. It's a shame he never came back for Series 5 or something, but
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, especially when the team said that the guy wanted said he wanted to build a new one. That would have been nice, but still, um,
I
all
mean,
in all, it's original, it's unique. I like it for that. But again, it's obviously just a bit of a joke comedy entry.
It's also one of the few robots I think they could have built a cluster bot for.
Yeah, like
But they decided not to bother. Like, I don't know,
they could have.
Millie and Anne.
Oh yeah, nice. Or Millian bugs.
Yeah, the bugs. Actually, yeah, beat that bugs. That's actually two bugs, not yours. Pipe
Yes.
cleaner crap. Yeah, and then lastly, disappointment incarnate. We had Griffin last heat, and now we have the third seeds, Body Hammer, get knocked out in the first round.
Yeah,
Man, and this is the first time we get to see the legendary David Gribble in action. And what a bad debut for him. What a
yes.
terrible
Yeah.
debut for such a
He went.
great driver.
He went on to become the renowned for the best driver in Robot Wars. Unfortunately, his life taken from him far too soon.
Between Series 4 and 5, wasn't it? Because Extreme was the
Uh,
last series he was in.
and Series
Extreme
5,
1.
and Series 5. Series 5, it was after the filming of Series 5 and Extreme 1.
Oh, okay. I thought Orange was in Series 5 or
Yeah,
not. But,
yeah. 'Cause basically, Series 5 and Extreme 1 were filmed at the same time.
oh yeah, of course they were.
Yeah, so,
But,
I mean, the battle between Pussycat and Razor was the last fight that he ever drove the robot in.
wow. And again, it's not a great start to your career when you get stuck and then lose to Elvis.
Yes, on
It's
Ram Rig.
on the Ram rig. I mean, I have a slight thing to talk about the Ram rig actually when we get to the gauntlet bit in a sec. But I'll be honest with you, I don't really have a big. It's just a shame because this robot was actually way better than the original Body Hammer. It was faster. It had
Yep,
more drive power. It was able to push into robots quite powerfully. I mean, in Internet Special, it did quite well.
yep, had a nice wedge on it.
Yeah,
It was a
the weapons were admittedly quite useless, but at least it had the drive power, so it didn't really matter too much. Plus,
hmm,
he made a wedge out of it, which is very weird to make a wedged cone, but it sort of worked in Body Hammer 2's case.
yes.
Just a shame that the third, one of the few times I've never seen a third seed go out so quickly in a series.
Yeah, it was a shame. I mean, the only time the top, yeah, this is the only time ever that the top four, one of the top four seeds, lost out in the first round.
That's true, obviously, because Killatron, Mortis, and Roadblock made it past the first round.
Yeah,
So
and the
yeah,
same with every other series after that as well. I mean, the worst performing top four seed after that was Razor in Series 4. No, but they made the heat final at least.
so that's not bad.
So, yeah,
But
so
yeah, what a shame for Body Hammer, really.
yeah, it was a shame, and like you said, it was a really upsetting debut for the late great David Gribble.
That's true.
Um,
But
but
the Gauntlet, thankfully, even though the brick wall was in effect, there wasn't actually any bullshit with the brick wall for the most
yeah,
part.
no,
It was just
I'm not.
that. I mean, in the case of Elvis, it was just so low to the ground, it probably couldn't have got past the ramp anyway.
Yeah, but what annoys me is that I mean, because Body Hammer, we saw it had quite good power, low ground clearance, so it could get past the bricks quite easily. Why not just go through the bricks? So that's what annoys me. That's what annoys me. It was just, in all honesty, right, David Gribble, RIP did, but that
Hmm.
was a daft decision.
I think he should have gone for the third route, the one with nothing on it, rather than the house robots, because he was
Oh yeah,
fast. He was fast enough. He could have got halfway through that at least, and that was about 8 meters.
yeah,
I think I don't know. I know why I wouldn't have. I would never go against the brick wall if I was him because it's low to the ground. Even if it got past the brick wall, the ramp would have been an issue.
yeah. But wasn't the
Um,
ramp to one side in this heat? I can't remember.
was that
Or was
sorry?
it was it because sometimes the ramp was in the center, and then sometimes the ramp was to one side,
Oh
and
no, no.
maybe
In this case, it was
down
like
the
the
side.
normal one where there's a brick wall and then the normal seesaw ramp because Behemoth went over it.
Yeah, that was it.
So
Yeah,
they could have had a chance. Yeah, David Gribble chose the worst possible route for his robot to go across, maybe bar the brick wall, and
yeah,
it was in hindsight a very very bad decision. And he really should have. I think he should have gone for the right hand route because that was his most obvious route for me.
yeah. To be
He
honest,
could
that
have
was the
rammed
most
into the
obvious
house
for
robots.
everybody.
He could have gone to dead metal maybe and just kind of pushed him a little bit, or maybe just gone. Even if they just driven into the pit, they would have
Yes.
gone further. That's about 5.5 meters that pit because I think like Wizard got that far.
Yeah.
So it's just do what Plunderbird did. Just drive into the pit and be a coward, but at least you get through.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And uh, in comparison, something like Inquisitor managed to show you that the ram rig is actually very easy if you just drive it well. Because that I mean, people always said the ram rig is very hard to get through, but I always think it's quite easy because all you have to do is just wait for it to go out and then just drive forwards. And that's all they did. They just waited their time until they could get through and then just kept going forwards and barely got stuck on it.
Yeah.
But then Body Hammer is a bit wide to begin with. Gets stuck on the ram rig, goes too close to the side bit and it's out.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I don't really see what the actual logic was going
I
into
don't
that.
either. Maybe just thought he could power like because it's 15 miles an hour top speed. He thought he could probably get through straight like a straight dash. But
Yeah,
no robot's ever done that.
but I think the ram rig was easily the worst thing to try and get. I mean, even the Sentinel was kind of easy to get past. Was easier than the ram
Yeah,
rig
but
anyway.
eventually a lot of robots just went underneath the center, like through the gap. It was so
Yes.
easy. If you're fast enough, if you're like Cassius, Kilohertz, I think Onslaught also managed to get you. That's how you do it. You just kind of go through a little gap in the middle and you're fine.
Yeah.
Unless you're roadblock and you can't dodge it at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, Razor had one of the best gauntlet runs ever because just grab, shunt, and run. I like that.
Yeah. Just push it along.
It did do terribly in the ram rig, but once it got out of the ram rig, it just powered through, and it was such a great run. To its credit, I mean, again, I hate praising Razor a lot, but to its credit, that was a great gauntlet run.
Yeah. This series, right? If it again, it's reliable because, like, again, right, in both the Gauntlet and the Trial, which we'll get to in a minute, Razor performed exceptionally well.
Yeah,
And again, like I said, I can completely understand the hype. In fact, Razor was again, it's really annoying because I don't like it and I find it boring. But I guess boring wins more,
I guess so.
and this is the case. I mean, I mean, obviously it proves it with this. It proves it in Series 3 when Razor won the pinball. You know, I can't even say it didn't even do anything in Series 4 because it won the Annihilator.
Yeah,
Series 5 and Extreme 1, it won practically anything thrown at it. Series 6 was the only series. Well, no, wait, no, because Extreme 2 it won, and also I see everything it won at least something.
but the main series took till its fourth appearance to win the series.
Yeah,
But hey, and actually, as I said about the ram rig, one of the biggest threat to the ram rig causes is basically anything with a low ground clearance. Because Body Hammer and other robots like another example for me is Angel of Death, proven that if you have a low ground clearance and no power to get off it, just
yes,
stuck. Which is why I think Millie Ambug had no problems because even though it did get bashed around quite a lot by the ram rig, it did it because it had such a high ground clearance, it just rolled over the spikes.
yes.
So it just sort of just had to wait until it got out in a way.
You see, that's something I can see why the Gauntlet existed because it wasn't just saying, "Oh, you have to have a big weapon and low ground clearance," but at the same time, it got in the way a lot as well.
That's
But
true.
but I can also see it's like it made it harder to win
Hmm,
because you couldn't have one without the other.
that's true.
You'd either have the low ground clearance and be really crap in the Gauntlet, or you have the high ground clearance and then suffer a lot in the heats in the arena stages.
Cough,
So
cough, groundhog.
yes,
Yeah, but overall, it wasn't the worst gauntlet run session in history. I mean, Body Hammer just chose the worst route possible, and
yeah,
Elvis couldn't really get past the brick wall, but it was never going to get past the ramp anyway. So
no,
it just kind of stuck at that part, and somehow that managed to get 70 centimeters more than Body Hammer.
I know a whole
I don't know,
7 centimeters.
but
Oh, that isn't even the length of the robot, by the way. So that's pretty devastating. Like
actually,
less than a robot away.
one thing I failed to mention about Elvis before we get to the trial, which I found quite funny, is that Elvis apparently is 145 centimeters wide. As a result, almost couldn't get through the door in the intro.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah,
so wide.
so I read that in that little like robot, well, the robotics guide or something, and I was like, wow, they couldn't even get this thing through the intro door. This is quite sad.
Yeah.
It's like it's like Spin Doctor. It just couldn't choose any of the routes because it's so what this thing going for the ram rig would have been suicide.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, at the end of the day, we lost Body Hammer, which is quite a sad thing, really, because Elvis would have been a lot worse to go through. But yeah, so we lost Body Hammer, and in the trials we have the football, one of the only two returning trials from Series One, along with the sumo, which we'll see in a couple of heats time. And
Yes.
this one was not as pants as the second football. The second
No, it
football was a
wasn't.
shambles in Cassius's heat, which I think
Yes,
Master
it
Rath is
was.
in. That was an absolute shambles. But this one wasn't as bad because at least everyone but one robot scored, which what it should have been.
Exactly, I agree.
I mean, Razor got lucky that they got the touch from the goalkeeper, but in fairness, that's part of the rules anyway. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Razor was probably the only one actually going for the ball at that particular moment.
Again, it was just good driving from again, very well driven machine.
Actually, Behemoth
Like,
and Inquisitor both got a very good goal. They both actually got quite a controlled goal, which is very rare in this show. Normally, it's just like a tap from the goalkeeper or something.
yeah.
Elvis just was derping about half the time. I have no idea what Elvis wasn't even trying to get the ball most of the time, and Millie Ambog broke down near the end. But
Yes.
to his credit, I feel sorry for Millie Ambog because they seem to just pick on them a lot in this particular. Like they were constantly getting attacked by the House Robots, getting set on fire and getting bullied a lot. Like even Elvis at one point almost took him out, and it's like there was no love for Millie. It's like beat up a Millie Ambug day. This particular trials, like I mean, he got one in the eye in the gauntlet, and then here his hair gets set on fire.
Yeah.
Nobody likes Millie Ambug in this. I swear, for some reason, they seem to have a vendetta against it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
It's
felt
like
that.
Trident in Series 3. They just wanted to go out after it for no reason.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's because it looked pretty.
Yeah, and
It
maybe because Millie Ambug does have the hairstyle.
Yeah, they're jealous. They're jealous, mate.
Maybe. I mean,
Only the House Robots can have heads, damn it. You can't
it
have a
just felt
pretty
unfair
face
because
as
they just
well.
got beaten into submission until by the end they were barely working, and Elvis got helped into the goal because Sergeant Bash was so sick of the sick death of the football match going on.
Yes.
I mean, I was by the end. I was like, oh, let's just score. Even the team were like, oh, come on, just score already.
I agree.
Mind you,
I mean,
it wasn't a very good shape to try and get hold of a ball around a
no,
robot.
just kept rolling off the front, didn't it?
At least Millie Ambug had jaws to kind of get into it.
Yes. I'm gonna say I think that personally I did like the I did like this football trial because
It's
it
not.
was
It's by one of the least bullshit ones because actually everyone gets a fair chance to have a go at it.
everyone gets a fair chance. Everyone does their best.
Well,
Yeah, okay.
their
So
best.
yeah, okay. So sometimes that's moving forward and then breaking down, but still, they're doing the best. But and to be honest, it's one of the more fun ones. I don't know why I just like seeing robots zipping around and trying to score a goal. Funny.
I tend to like the ones that are like team-based ones as opposed to like individual like sumo or tug of war, like like British Bulldog and
Yes.
like because I think in that one it feels like you're all on a level playing field because you're all going at it at the same time. It's just who can get there first as opposed to Dead Metal just decide to hold on to you for a second and then drop you off as opposed to just push you off instantly or Matilda decided to not pull you on for a second. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
I
here
agree.
it's all pretty fair. And also, football's pretty fun because I mean, they brought back a Series 3. That's how much they cared about it. And it wasn't as good in Series 3 because there's only two robots, but
Mm,
wasn't. I mean, there were some okay goals,
yeah,
but
Velociraptor's goal was actually boss.
Velociraptor is that's its highlight from its entire run,
Yeah, just
even
that
including
amazing off the nose shot.
and that includes Mighty Mouse's performances as well.
yes,
Wow, which is basically the same similar robot.
it is the same robot just repainted.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's no Ironside 3. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's for that.
But yeah, so Millie Anborg got beaten into submission, so they lost. Fire and
Pretty badly.
everything. And in the first battle, we get Razor against Inquisitor. Ah, Razor. What you
Yes,
like?
and
You so silly.
see everything we've said, guys, ladies and gentlemen, right? But about Razor in Series 2 being a brilliant looking robot, a favourite to do well because of how it looks, looking very impressive, get a good reliability, great drive, great power. That all goes completely out the fucking window in this match.
Because they were on top right from the beginning. They grab into Inquisitor, break them quite easily. Inquisitor gets out, and
And they
Razor
just
just
die.
stops moving. Even they don't know what happened.
I mean, because I have the four Ultimate Warrior DVDs, the
Oh
Gribble Wars
yeah.
Ultimate Warrior collection. Obviously, that includes Razor's one. Of course, I watched it because I got it as a birthday present. I was like, "Fuck it, I may as well watch it either way."
hmm
Found some interesting stuff actually, and one of them was Simon Scott turned around and said to them before the match because they were a bit worried about facing them, and they said, "Well, it's only fair we give you a bit of a tip. Why don't you maybe turn around and try and hit us in the beak with your flail? And you never know, it might do something." And of course, that's what they did. So they turn around, turn their flail on them. They come in and crush the crap out of the flail, but they break down. And so, of course, Simon Scott's like, "Oh God, I told them to do that. It actually worked. What happened?"
That's
Um,
brilliant.
but yeah, and then of course, obviously, this is also another fault was shown on Razor is that it couldn't self-right when Matilda flipped it over, and then it caught fire, and I was very happy, and it
Actually,
made me
it's
laugh.
only Series 2 did it not have a self-writer. But yeah, and it proved why it needed a self-writer. Because if it was going against Behemoth in sometime, it
Yeah,
needed a self-writer. And unfortunately, in this case, Matilda's was able to flip it over, and Razor just broke down.
Yes.
Again, Razor is reliable in the first 3 series. Spoilers, it's not. This is not its most embarrassing moment, though. I think personally, Series 3 is its most embarrassing great fuck up. But
Definitely.
we'll get.
Yes.
That's the one that will never fail to make me laugh when I watch it.
Yeah.
But it's up there with watching PS Resistance just not knock over a brick wall. It's that level of just oh my god
Face
level of
palm.
hilarity. Yeah, it's hilarity. But
So, you know,
Inquisitor very luckily got through. But I'm not complaining because hell, the
the only thing more laughable than that is obviously Spam just driving in the pit in Series 6.
actually half the pit robots just driving into the pit are pretty hilarious. Especially in like no, the ultimate one is kilohertz. Just
Yes.
on pressure of nothing. Yeah, I mean we'll get to that. But
But
that's
again,
probably
the same with Spam, really. Literally, there was just nothing wrong. It just turned and went straight in. It was hilarious.
I think kilohertz is funnier though because it was like had so much more space. Like it was
Well,
like
yeah.
halfway across the arena and then just goes right into just drives around. I don't know why it was driving around that area. Just did
Yeah.
plonk. But yeah, so Razor lost, Inquisitor won. Next round, Elvis against Behemoth, and this was a little bit more of an annoying battle because this was essentially Behemoth pushing Elvis into the PPZ and then just Elvis getting shat on until it died.
Yes.
And
But
I felt kind of bad for Elvis because they weren't doing that. They were kind of on par at one point, and then just get one push into the PPZ. That's it. You're out.
yeah, perfect.
No mercy.
Yeah, perfect example of the PPZ and the household just being stupid in this series. Another reason why it's my least favorite of the series. Yes, I still enjoy this series, but it does. I mean, I just found myself getting really irritated when I watched it, and I still do. And I go back and watch it to this day. I just think to myself, why? Why is that happening?
It's because
And it just
PPZ
got
is a pain,
yeah,
and
it's yeah,
it's just yeah, it's just got completely destroyed. Like its saw fell off, its down got damaged, its head got set on fire. It uh it was just it was a mess by the end of the series. Elvis.
yes,
Actually, one thing I will give Elvis credit for, which I think it's very weird. I'm saying this to give Elvis credit, but yep, to its credit, apart from its design, the saw actually gave us some sparks, which is very rare for a weapon to do anything other than the house robots giving you sparks. Because it
yeah,
did attack when it attacked Behemoth at saw for the first time. There was some sparks flying, which is very rare for a competitor's saw to do any damage like that. Because I've
it
always
is.
cited that, along with static spikes and pneumatic spikes, saws are one of the worst weapons in the series, especially early
Definitely,
on. But
definitely,
it's nice to see some sparks fly for a change, which is very rare. Again, that's supposed to be a thing that happens every episode, and it doesn't.
yeah, yeah.
But Elvis, yeah, just got completely pounced on by the house robots, and he's out. That's it.
Yeah.
No more
Cheers.
Elvis, unfortunately.
Thanks for coming, and see you next time.
Well, actually, no, this is the last time we see Elvis, so
Oh yeah, yeah, that is literally it. Yeah.
that's it. And the Heat final was another example of push into the PPZ and then kill.
Yes.
In this case, Inquisitor got the brunt of it, although it was a lot smoother for Inquisitor because they just got flipped over. But it was still very unfair in this Heat
Yeah.
final because Behemoth just lifted them up, pushed them a bit, and yeah, although in fairness, Behemoth was probably more on top anyway because they had more pushing power, which I was quite surprised about. Because Inquisitor has
Yes.
6 wheels, and yet has less pushing power than a robot with 4, and is just really
Yeah.
slow.
That did make me laugh. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, twice they tried it twice, and both times Behemoth was the better pusher. So in fairness, I think it was if they got him near a pit, they probably could just pushed him in anyway. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, out of the 2 robots, Behemoth was better anyway. So I guess it's not the worst result, but it's just the way of getting to it was a bit annoying.
Mm.
But there's not much to say. It's just similar to Elvis's battle, except it's not as brutal.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I mean, looking at a picture of Elvis now, I can see it's like armor's tattered and all that, but it just got flipped over. The chain fell off, which is pretty funny. Just kind of,
Yes.
it wasn't even like Razor where it kind of crumpled it off. So Killot just lifted it and it fell off. This is how weak that's for that flail, or sorry, flail in quotation marks is.
Yes.
Just 2 chains stuck to a spinning bar. But hey, what are you gonna do? But yeah, so Behemoth won this, the first time and only time so far, anyway, unless they appear in the next modern series of
Which they
them.
more than likely will.
Oh,
I mean,
they should
it's
get
the
through.
beer moth boys, isn't it? It's the beer moth boys. They always do.
If depending how the seeding's done, they might get a seeding, which is quite which
Yes.
would be nice.
Which wouldn't surprise me because they almost always got a bloody seeding.
Yeah, they did usually
Yeah.
deserved it though. It's a thing.
Yeah. apart from Series 6, they got a seeding every series that they were in. That seedings happened. On Series 2, obviously, because
It made
they were their
sense because
first.
5 and 6 was they didn't do well in 5 and 6 at all, really.
No.
But so, yeah, but actually no, actually in Series 7 didn't do that well either. It was actually the earlier series they did okay,
Yes.
and later on they started getting a little bit worse. They started getting stuck in the second round every time. Um, but yeah, so Behemoth won. It's nice to see them finally get a victory, ever. So
Yeah.
savor it while you can, Behemoth. Save it while you can. Uh, so I mean, next week I don't know who's doing the next heat next week. It might be Master Wrath, it might be you. I'm not sure. You have to wait until he replies yet, but it's
Okay, fair enough.
it's not bad. It's not the worst heat next week. Although we do have one robot that doesn't even make it into the arena. Always nice to see.
Yay.
Uh, the box on wheels that didn't make it in.
What a pain that was.
That's funny. That's funny.
Sorry.
We have the we have the
Sorry.
we have a wheelchair with a saw on it.
Oh,
Uh,
fucking.
with bicycle wheels. One of the few robots that uses bicycle wheels in the series, along with Brutus Maximus, because
Yay.
they are the most reliable wheels in existence.
Apparently so.
So bendy. We have the fastest robot in the series with no control, so
Great.
great. A robot that spins but doesn't really do any damage apart from only to tusks apparently.
Yay.
uh, just technophobic. Just
Yeah.
there's nothing to say about that robot to be honest with you.
This next heat is going to suck.
And the only veteran who Jonathan keeps saying is a grand finalist, but wasn't.
Wasn't, yes.
Even though they came fourth, higher than Chaos, who was a grand finalist
Yes.
in Robert the Bruce. But whatever, they're so powerful, clearly. Also, fun fact: Killatron is the only C to actually match the seeding it was supposed to do.
Yes.
Because most Cs, hitting a disc in the
Apart from
series.
and Chaos 2.
Oh yeah, Chaos 2 and Killatron are the only ones that match their seeds.
Oh, and Firestorm.
Did Firestorm?
Yeah, they were seeded third for Series 6, and they came third in Series 6.
Oh, they did, didn't they? Well, it's not
Yes,
many.
that's
One
great.
of three. Then there's not many that do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, Killatron's one of the first one to do that. Anyway, that's probably what I meant.
Yeah,
But
pretty much.
yeah, so then, and not the orange this time, not pink. Apart from that, nothing's changed. Absolutely nothing. With that what that 10 centimeter ground clearance,
And the whole seesaw design.
and somehow this thing does well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's next heat. I don't know who's doing it. It won't be the most fun heat, but here we go. Hey ho, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you going to do? That's the thing.
We can't do anything. But
No.
yeah, that was the heat. I mean, overall, what is your rating for Heat D of Series 2?
Yeah, it's a tricky one to do, this one, because there were some good moments and there's some bad moments. I'm going to lean more towards the good. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10.
That's fair enough. Not too bad.
Yes, that's
And
fair.
most of the bullshit appeared in the battles at the end,
Yes,
as opposed to actually anything else.
definitely.
But yeah, so that was Heat D. Heat E is come up sometime. And I'm Jimjamatic signing off.
I'm Anderson132. Thank you very much for having me once again, Jim.
Sure will. And see you the next Heat you're in.
Yes. See you then.
See you then. Bye.